Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you're looking to retire early with forever passive income, you're in the right place. This podcast is the go-to destination for real estate investors, both active and passive, and multifamily apartment investors, both new, intermediate, and advanced. Now, sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
So hey everybody, welcome back to Accelerated Investor. I'm your host, Josh Cantwell, and we're continuing today with our discussion around the 9 traits of elite entrepreneurs and 8-figure investors. I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of heavy hitters, ballers, whatever you want to call it. And I've been smart enough since my dad was my first mentor to pay attention to see what these people were doing. And to kind of copy and paste what they were doing. I listened years ago to people say, don't reinvent the wheel, just copy and paste what other people are doing. Just R&D, rip off and duplicate what other people are doing. And so as I've observed entrepreneurs for the last 15 or 20 years, as I've been an entrepreneur, this next one is something that I'm super passionate for. And so going back to our discussion over the last couple of days and weeks, we talked about the first 3 traits so far. We're on trait number 4. Trait number 1 was to invest for cash flow now. Trait number 2 was that you're 100% responsible for your own life and nobody's coming to your rescue. And trait number 3 was that elite entrepreneurs have super time management skills, which leads me to trait number 4, one of my favorites, which is that elite entrepreneurs refuse and avoid leeches. Okay, they refuse and avoid the screen-sucking OCD loop. They refuse and avoid negativity and negative people. They refuse and avoid things that are in their way. And so let's peel this back for a quick minute. As I've observed elite entrepreneurs, and I'd like to put myself in that category for sure, I found that elite entrepreneurs are inherently positive people. They're inherently positive. They're inherently growth-minded. And when you're focused on growth, you're focused on the future, and you're looking forward, you're inherently positive. If you're constantly looking backwards at a lot of the things that didn't go right or things that didn't happen well for you, that could lead to negativity because you have some anxiety over what happened before. And so these elite entrepreneurs who refuse and avoid leeches, they're inherently positive people. So they won't associate with negativity. They won't associate with people who are toxic or organizations who are toxic. They won't associate with people or organizations that are leeches. They won't waste their time on things that are leeches of their time. And so that's the high level, right, of this particular trait is refuse and avoid leeches. And when I think about avoiding leeches, one of the first things I think about is how fast and easy technology and social media has become and what a negative time waster it can truly be. So the question becomes how can I use technology and social media purposely? Because it is powerful, but how can I use it purposely? So one of the things that I've done is I don't keep most of my apps on my phone. The apps that I need, I download as I need them and use them as I need them and delete them. So instead of just constantly having apps open and because of constantly surfing the internet, instead of constantly having tabs open on my internet browser on my computer, I open what I need and I close it and delete what I don't. Okay. So the question becomes for you, the question you have to ask yourself is, who are the people, the places, and the things that you enjoy being around? Okay. What people, places, things, apps, websites that you actually get value out of, not just surfing, blindly getting value. There's no value in that. But what people, places, things, apps, technology actually enhance your life when you use it or when you're around it. Ask yourself that question right now. The people, places, things, technology, apps that you actually enjoy. Now, ask yourself the converse question, which is, who are the people, places, things, apps, technology that you hate to be around and that you can ultimately cut out, refuse to be around, and not associate with anymore? So that's the ultimate real question, high-level question that I'm asking you here, is because elite entrepreneurs refuse and avoid leeches that have no value to them, that are the people, the places, the things, the apps, the technology that provide no real joy, that provide no real value. Okay. If there's apps that don't benefit you, delete them and just download them as needed. Right. If there's apps that you constantly are using that provide value to your life, and I'm not talking about entertainment here. Entertainment, right, can absolutely be a leech because it gets in the way of true contribution, true value creation. Okay. So if there's apps that don't benefit you, delete them and then re-download them as needed. Like when I use Instagram, I use it, then I delete it. When I use Facebook, I use it, delete it. So I'm not surfing. Okay. Messenger, same thing. I usually download those once a day, look at them real briefly, check them out, bunch of likes, bunch of loves, respond to some messages, and then delete them all. Right? So if I'm going to be a positive person, if elite entrepreneurs are inherently positive, I cannot allow my time to be sucked into negativity, toxicity, leeches. I cannot go to negative places. I cannot go associate with negative people. Okay. And so people that I think that are, negative, leeches, toxic, drama, right? There's a few things that I've heard over the years that I think kind of stands out. So one is, if you're around someone that tells the same negative story over and over and over, that person's not telling that story because it's benefiting anybody. They're telling that story because they're seeking attention. So if you have to tell more than one person a story, you're not looking to solve a problem. You're looking for attention. And so I'll pay attention to people that I'm associating with. And if I hear the same person tell the same negative story more than once, then all the alarm bells go off. Okay. And I start to think, like, if they tell the story one more time to another person, like, nobody's benefiting from that story. It's a boring, negative, toxic, leechy story. My alarm bells are going off to say, like, I don't know if this is somebody that I can continue to be around. And I've definitely am observing whether I want to continue to be around them. Okay. It's not something that I enjoy when people tell stories and I'm like, oh God, they're telling the same story again about the same crap drama. Let's not do that. Okay.
Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast.
And so elite entrepreneurs who are leaders are inherently positive people. They're growth focused, and you can't be negative and growth focused at the same time. You can't associate with toxic people and be growth focused at the same time. You can't associate and do negative, toxic, leechy things and be growth focused at the same time. It doesn't mesh together. Okay. And so last point I'm going to make here is some of you might say, well, what about my family? You know, I've got this sister, I've got my mother. Look, we can't help the family that we were born into, can't help the mother that brought us into the world. And so that's what Christmas and Easter is for. You know, maybe 4th of July weekend or Memorial Day weekend, you know. So, you know, if you have some of those type of people in your family, obviously that's not something you're just going to, you know, you're not just going to cut them off just because they're negative. But you could certainly stand up and say, look, you know, you've told me this same story several times. There's really no benefit to that story. It's only negative. You know, why do you tell negative stories all the time? You know, like, why are you telling me about all your ailments and all your people that you're friends with who've died and everything that's wrong with you and why your life is always terrible? Your life is terrible because that's all you talk about is terrible things. Your life is boring because all you talk about is all the stuff that sucks in your life. It's negative, and that's why nobody wants to hang out with you. So you have a boring life. Right? You know, I just accepted, I wasn't going to go back into volleyball. I wasn't going to go back into coaching. But, you know, I've observed this past year, a lot of young girls that are not having good experiences in club volleyball. Parents are paying thousands of dollars, traveling all over the country. And the kids are like, you know, I'm just not having a good experience. So I talked to my wife and I said to my wife, I said, hey, I think I want to get back into coaching. And I said, there's all these parents asking me to coach again. Right. And that was important to me. Like, I observed that and I thought to myself, I guess I'm doing something right, because all these parents want me to get back into coaching. Why? Because I'm focused on progress. I'm focused on growth. I don't need to, you know, crucify some young 12-year-old, 13-year-old girl over missing a spike or missing a serve. Right? She's trying her best. So when I give her, you know, constructive feedback and I'm focused on, hey, you know, the next one, you'll get the next one, you know, focus on what you've learned, focus on the fundamentals. The word progress is so important to everybody. Like, a lot of these parents, they don't care if their kid is losing games. They care if their kid is getting better. You have one kid on a team. You got 6 girls on a volleyball court. You got 10 kids on a baseball diamond for youth baseball. You got 9 guys on a high school diamond. You got 5 kids on a basketball court. You got 22 kids, 11 on each side in football. They're teams. The teams determine if they win or lose. But is my kid getting better, making progress? And the elite entrepreneurs that I know, they're always making progress. They're always growing. They're always doing research. We talked about this earlier in the previous sessions around this, right? And so when a parent tells me like, hey, Josh, will you please coach my kid? It's not about the games we've won and lost. We've certainly won more than we've lost, but that's because the kids are focused on getting better. And elite entrepreneurs refuse and avoid these leeches that are not getting better, that are telling negative stories, toxic stories, leechy stories. Nobody wants to be around that coach, right? They don't want to be around the ones that are growth oriented, growth mindset, future mindset. We can get better. We can do fun things together, right? You know, leeches also tend to be very attention driven, right? They want attention all the time. And the way they get attention is through negativity. It's no different than the popular news, the modern newsreel. People watch it because it's negative. It's like you can't take your eyes off the train wreck, right? That's how negative people are. They are the train wreck. Please don't take your eyes off me. I am the train wreck. I am about to be a train wreck. Please pay attention to me. I need your attention. That's a leech. You can see it from a mile away. Okay. And so when you're around people like that, you respectfully excuse yourself. You know, if you're at dinner, you respectfully excuse yourself and go to the bathroom and find a way to get out. You know, if you're in a business situation, you respectfully excuse yourself and say you got to get to another meeting that you got to get to. right? But elite entrepreneurs, guys building, big businesses, 8-figure, 9-figure companies like mine, dude, I don't have extra time. And the extra time that I do have, I'm going to spend more time with my wife and kids. I'm not going to let some leech steal it from me.
You were just listening to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you enjoyed this episode and learned something new, help us build the AI community by leaving a review and 5-star rating on our iTunes podcast channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. To see passive investing opportunities, visit freelandventures.com/passive. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of with multifamily apartments, apply for one-on-one coaching with Josh at www.joshcantwellcoaching.com.